Episode 2 of Kingdom picks up where the last one left off, whereby the wild dogs were trying to escape from the lions, there was one pup left, and Storm had to try and save it. Lo and behold, this cliffhanger is resolved pretty much instantly, whereby Storm saves the pup, and we cut to 4 months later. To be honest, I kind of feel like the cliffhangers are going to be redundant, to be honest. That might annoy me as the series goes on, but, as for right now, it was just kind of a bit pointless. And as we cut to 4 months later, we explore the wet season. Later on in the episode, we explore the dry season as well, so you see the comparison between the two, the struggles that are there. The wild dogs are pretty much the main characters of this one. We don't get a lot of Alimba the leopard. We do get a bit of her. We see a bit more of Matima, who's grown up a bit, and she's kind of got to learn how to hunt. We see her try to steal a kill from her mum. Her mum's not happy. She basically chases her down the tree. And Alimba later courts a male. She's basically ready to mate. I feel like there might be some conflict later in the series between the two leopards. We'll see, but we see Matima gradually over the course of the episode get better at hunting. We see that she's basically got the stalking bit down, but the actual catching is something that's kind of eluding her. And a lot of the footage of her just jumping in the air is great. And we get this sequence at the end, which is in thermal imaging. We see her hunting an impala. We get really good shots of her basically just grappling with this impala and bringing it down, and later dragging it up a tree to escape hyenas. It's a pretty good sequence. It's a really good character journey through the episode. I feel like as the series goes on, we might start focusing on her rather than Limba for the leopard stuff. We'll see how that goes, but as for right now, it was fine. Wasn't as much in the forefront as it was in the last episode, but that's fine and gave the other animals a chance to shine. But I thought that was pretty good. But back to the wild dogs, we see a lot more of them in this episode, and they're definitely a lot more sympathetic with them being the kind of main protagonists. We see that Storm has another breed of pups, and they kind of befall various misfortunes throughout the episode. We see loads of buffalo come in, and that seems to be a major shift in the Longa Valley. We see them approaching the pup's den, and the wild dogs have got to chase them off, which again shows how hard they are, because buffalo are, pretty intimidating animals, but unfortunately the buffalo cause one of the dens to collapse, and Storm and the other dogs have got to try and dig them out, and it's a pretty intense sequence. It kind of reminds me a lot of the stuff we got in like season 1 of Meerkat Manor, a little bit, and we see that ultimately of the 8 pups that she had, which was quite a substantial litter, only 5 of them make it out, which is a majority, but not great odds, to be honest. And as the episode goes on, we later see that lions kill another one of them. That's actually a pretty important moment, because we follow the wild dogs throughout the episode pretty closely. We see them, dealing with other animals, chasing leopards, hyenas, more of the same stuff we got in the last episode, but actually the lions are able to drive them out of the park completely, which basically changes things a lot, because the wild dogs were kind of the main predator there. Obviously the leopards were there and the hyenas as well, but the wild dogs were definitely the biggest force there. And as we saw in the last episode, the lions came in and kind of forced them out, and ultimately looks like they're going to be the main focus of the next episode at least. It's kind of interesting to see. Will we see the wild dogs again? Probably. But it's interesting to see if it'll be Storm or another pack of wild dogs. I'm interested to see that, because ultimately I did end up caring about them as the episode went on. Tam and Tanda, I think. They've all got their own cubs. We also see the other hyenas, Tam and Tanda, I think. They've all got their own cubs, and they do a really good job of showing you that unlike the wild dogs, which kind of, care for all the pups, hyenas will only care for their own offspring. And we get a lot of cute shots of the hyenas cubs. It's quite nice, especially her cubs. And we see a lot of the hyenas trying to steal kills from other animals. It's weird actually, because hyenas are almost always portrayed as the baddies. In this episode, they're definitely not. So far, the wild dogs were kind of the baddies in the last one, along with the lions. This one, the lions were definitely the main antagonists. The hyenas haven't really been villains at all. We kind of see them in the background, kind of try to steal kills from leopards and wild dogs, which interferes with their storylines. But they're not really the baddies, which I think quite refreshing actually, because you look at like Dynasties, hyenas were the baddies in every single episode that they appeared in. Even in the hyena episode, the hyenas were the baddies. So I think it's good to show a more sympathetic side of them. And as the episode goes on, we see the lions bring down a buffalo, which the hyenas are quite keen to get a piece of. But ultimately this does not end well for them, and there's this really good sequence at night where we just see the stars and trees, but we hear scuffling in the background. We hear very clear calls from lions and hyenas, and we hear that there's, a confrontation going on. And the next morning we find out that one of the hyenas is dead. Quite sad, and we don't really know which one it is. You suspect it might not be Tandala, but it still could be, we don't know. And then you've got the kind of roulette, because we know that all 3 females have cubs. And it's basically a case of which one's cubs are not going to survive. We see Tandala come back. That's good. Her and her cub are the main one we're following. Then Tanda, I think it's called, comes back. She's got 2 cubs. All good stuff. However, you've then got Tam's cub, which is really young, the smallest one actually. And it's pretty heartbreaking. And they do drag it out quite a bit, because Amber talks about, this cub, it's never going to see its mum again. And that's, pretty heartbreaking. And then he's like, Yeah, and without its mum, it's gonna die. Which makes it even worse. It's really sad. They do focus on the cub for a little bit longer. I thought it was really good. This episode did a lot to make the hyenas very sympathetic. And as I said in the last one, I wanted to see more of them. We definitely did. And by the end of the episode, we've seen that the lions have actually killed a cub from each of the families. The leopards, obviously, last time, and the hyenas and the wild dogs in this one. And by the end of the episode, with the wild dogs chased off, we then rather jarringly focus on the lions and go, cool, this is Rita, this is her pride. After we've just seen them properly be the villains up to this point, and a very intimidating threat. I feel like I will obviously grow to care about the lions as the series goes on, but up to this point, I've quite enjoyed them as a really menacing threat in the background. The fact that we never named them up until the end of this episode made them seem even more intimidating, which I thought was really good. So we'll see how that goes in the next episode, where inevitably they'll be kind of the more main characters. And at the end of the episode, we see that they've had cubs, which is nice. No finer way of making you sympathise with them. And unfortunately, a herd of elephants come along, and we see the cubs basically caught up in amongst the elephants. And obviously, elephants are, very likely to stomp on the cubs and kill them. So we'll see how that goes. I feel like, once again, that cliffhanger is going to be resolved very easily. However, there is a bit more threat. But yeah, this episode is, once again, pretty good. I think I preferred the last one a little bit more. This one had a little bit more downtime, I thought. But it was still pretty good. It advanced the stories, added new layers to things. We got a lot more of the hyenas. The lions got named, I think, at the end. The wild dogs, there was a lot more of them. And yeah, I thought this was pretty good. Again, very good stuff. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? What storyline are you caring about most at this moment? Let me know. And yeah, next week I'll be doing the next one, episode 3, so look forward to that. And as ever, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, or don't if you don't want to. It's perfectly fine. And I'll see you next time, and goodbye.